Okay, welcome back to having a look at the odd radio that's sitting around this place. This is the Dragon SS485H. It's a 10 metre, primarily AM/FM sideband CW. I don't know if they had a key actually. Let's have a look. AM/FM sideband. I was pretty sure they didn't have a key connection on the back of them. So for those of you that can't stand this radio because it doesn't have CW, I'm not a big CW fan. Passed my 10 words a minute and was happy to get away from CW after that. Although I do own over 100 Morse keys sitting out in the shed, so we were having a joke about that the other day. For someone that doesn't really focus on CW so much, too many Morse keys. A lot of them not worth a lot, by the way, so don't get too excited. A few of them are, but most of them not. Okay, so this one came into me, and unfortunately I've been crook for the last few days, and I just today thought, oh, you know what, I've got to get out of bed. I'm just so sick of being in bed. So it's not COVID, by the way. Sounds like it a little bit, but it's not. Been tested for that. But unfortunately still just battling with a few things. But this one came from a good mate of mine down in Tassie, John, and had a couple of issues actually, but I'm not here to talk about the issues. By the way, John, one of the most honest fellas you ever deal with, he tends to tell you when you're buying a radio, listen, it's got a couple of issues here and there, so I'm going to sell it at this price, and he's the sort of guy, and if you're not happy with it, send it back to me, I'll do a total refund. So, I mean, doesn't get any better. John, this one, quite happy with, mate. A couple of things to be sorted, but it took about an hour of my time, so not bad. You know, that's actually not a bad one, so I do appreciate that. Comes with the original little Dragon mic that they came with. They're a little bit plasticky, I suppose, but, you know, they're all right. They seem to work all right, so the insert, is okay. Now, I'm going to talk about what these do from 28 megs through to 29 megs. And at the moment, I've got my analyzer just set up on 28 mega cycles, and you'll see they have a twin output. They run a 2SE 1969 and wrong 2SE 2166 on the side here, and two 1969 equivalents on the back. I actually didn't really look while I had it in bits to see. I'm pretty sure I saw a 2166 driver. I won't swear they were 1969 or 1307 finals, but they sure look like them. So correct me in the comments if I'm 100% wrong on that. I'm not pulling the screws back out to find out. But as you'll see from the power output of these things, look, they do a pretty good job at with a 2 by 20 watt final as such, which sort of realistically expect 15 watts per transistor if you're not going to run them into thermal runaway, and they run pretty well. So let's just have a bit of a look. Let's see, what am I on sideband? That won't help. I just actually do an FM initially. Just let's have a look at what we're getting on carrier. Now I'm what am I on? I'm on my 150 watt scale at the moment. Right, about 25 watts. So just to point that out, as I do with my lack of hands. So whoops, we're on that second scale there, 10, 20, 25. Okay. Okay, so let's just go over to sideband, and we'll try that same test. Might get a little bit more. Okay, we'll go lower sideband for fun. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, 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 hello. About the same. Look, on a PEP meter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so transmitting wise, let's call this a 25 watt radio, and I think they're going to do that effectively very easily. Nice if you want to pump that into an amplifier as well. Obviously you might want to run your power down. Let's just have a look at how far on low that power drops down to, out of interest. On sideband that won't give us very good carrier. Right, try that FM. Yeah, well, that power mod on FM, and let me just have a look, is doing absolutely nothing. So let's try on sideband. I'll be very curious to see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so it's a little bit less on sideband, but stuff all, to be honest. I'm even having a look here to make sure I'm actually adjusting the, yeah, I am adjusting the power. I was just having a look for the outer inner controls, and just saying, hang on, and I was then weaving it back there and thinking, righto. So 1, 2, 1, 2, so I'm just having a bit of a look here. Really not a lot of difference, slight, I would sort of say they're slight, but no, I think it's more, even though they have a mic gain over here, I sort of Not sure. The other reason for that, actually, more I think about this, is that if someone has possibly adjusted the ALC on this to get peak output, that power control will be very, very minimal. Might have a quick look at that before, so we pack this one away, because realistically that power control should have some sort of, unless someone's hot-wired it for any other reason, but I couldn't see anything like that inside it. So that's an interesting thing to pick up on. Okay, so let's just have a look. I've got the volume right up. That'll be a bit loud, but let's just put a bit of receive into it. We'll go back to FM just for the moment, because that probably suits us, because we're gonna make an FM signal go into it. Let's get on the generate on this thing, and let's just see. Oh wow, okay, good. All right, so we're putting a fair bit of... Now, you're used to seeing the Motorola and how we, give you an absolute... when I go on to generate here, you can actually see our figures. Now, we're doing it on the IFR in a slightly more mechanical way, but still the same rules apply. So when we sort of say minus 120 dBm, you can see the little scale there when I come up. As we all know, we like about... let's have a look there, 0.5 a microvolt. So at 0.5 a microvolt, let's just see. We'll turn this up. Make sure you've got our squelch turnaround. I was going to say, I thought I knocked the squelch. Okay, so receiving nicely at 0.5 a microvolt. Let's just turn that down to, look at that, down to -1. It's receiving very well. Just under 0.2 of a microvolt, -122 or so dBm. dBm, yes, sorry. And if I take that any further, yeah, look, I can get it under that just. Let me just turn that down a bit, and we'll take this off generator, because it's going to drive me mental, all that noise. Back to receive. Okay, and we might actually turn that volume down a little bit. So, look, these things, they really do have a superb receiver for, especially if you're a bit of a repeater nut like me, for trying to get into the South Australian repeaters and etc. all around Australia, actually, on some of these here. And they're a great, 29.6 monitoring radio, just to sit on there and see if the band opens up. Been a bit coming through, lately on 29.6. Also 29.3, there's been quite a bit of Japanese stuff that, just as the 10 metre bands opens up, I still speak a little bit of Japanese, not a huge amount, but Mum taught me enough to get by. And so putting out a CQ in Japanese there sometimes gets a response. So yeah, bit of fun. Now, I suppose the obvious question is, can these radios be modified? Yes, they can. I won't go into that, but this one is, now the trick with these, turned on, turned off. So basically, once you've turned on, turned off, I'll do that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if my radio is still doing what we're doing here, and going from 29 back to 28, etc., not modified as such. The problem with a lot of these radios, and I'm not going to go into teaching people how to modify radios, but the problem is that a lot of them now are getting to the stage where they can be programmed to do other bands, and the issue there is that, is pretty much to make them RI proof as such with ACMA. Turn it on, turn it back on, turn it off, turn it on again, and they go back to standard. So there's a key function to make them change over. Now, I'm not going to say much more about that, but it is something that I'm sure ACMA pull the hair out over with some of the compliance rules. But look, I'm sort of commenting on this radio as a 10 metre radio. It's exceptional, actually, for what they do. I think they're really good, and they're not a lot of money, and they really are, sort of something for the collector as well. I think the Dragons have started to sort of come up a bit in people's lists of what they want and what they don't want, I suppose. But yeah, look, nice, and certainly, as people know, I'm a bit of a 29 meg fan. I've got 8 elements up at about 65 feet, and when the band's running, I've actually got that beam tuned. People ask me, can you use that 8 element on 27 megs? Now, just a quick answer on that one. No, I can't. And the reason for that is because I've actually tuned the 8 element very much between 29.4 up to 29.6 now. That makes it where it's most efficient. Now, if I'd chosen to, keep that middle spot down, right down the lower part of 28, maybe 27.8, something like that, sure, I'd get the benefit of doing 27 and 28, but I'd lose my high part of the band. It just wouldn't tune, effectively there, and you'd end up with something that. And to be honest, I'm more of a 29.6 type of guy that likes chasing stuff up there. So you barely hear me on CB. It's actually very, very unusual, but still like collecting them. Don't get me wrong. But there's just 29 megs has been and 28.490 for that matter has always been a bit of a fun one for me. All right, well look, that's the Dragon SS485H. Definitely a small enough radio to chuck in the vehicle. Brenton put rubber feet on this one. I just thought they look good. I don't know why I did that. I raced out to the display room and thought, rubber feet. Truth was, it used to have rubber feet on it, so I thought I'm going to replace it with rubber feet. I could see the marks there. Maybe I was just too lazy to clean it. Anyway, SS485H, good 25 watt radio. Don't overdo it. And certainly one that if you get a chance, grab a hold of. And just from a repair point of view, there was nothing hard about what I had to do. Little bit of thought, quickly running through a circuit, and sort of it all made sense, and just a matter of then just we had a faulty component in here, and also some adjustment issues. So that's the way it goes. All right, all the best. Sorry it's been so long between videos. We'll certainly try and get out of bed a bit more. Just still unfortunately battling some stuff, and it's just taking time, and I reckon be patient, it will get there. So that's what I'm doing. All right, anyway, nice to be able to at least say g'day and to bring a video your direction. All the best. 73s from VK3 Charlie Mike. All the best.